Well, we're finally in December.
It's December, Bobby.
It's December. It's episode 46.
Episode 46. We're back in December. December is not only when Jesus was born, but when JonBenet Ramsey was dead. When she was made dead.
Yeah, I got it.
And it's when our show started.
Yeah.
We started our show in December.
Yeah, we're coming up on our year anniversary. And so we also have a very, very special episode today, Teddy.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. We're going to be talking to comedian, writer, and podcast host Ashley Ray.
Amber Ray.
Ashley. She's blowing up right now on X with her theory regarding what she thinks happened following the Netflix documentary.
Oh, is that what you read to me, Bobby?
Yeah, and John Andrews even reached out and tweeted at it. He's very upset.
Oh.
So we're going to talk about that. And also over the weekend, I watched Michael Tracy's 1998 documentary, JonBenet's America.
Michael Tracy.
And let me tell you what, it is basically, Netflix is basically the JonBenet's America 2. But we're going to dive into that too.
Michael Tracy, he made Showgirls.
Huh?
He was a filmmaker.
No, you're thinking of Paul Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven?
Yeah, that's not Michael.
Paul Verhoeven, new JonBenet?
Nope.
What are we talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the documentary. We're gonna talk about that. What we're doing in this episode.
Oh, okay. I'm just sorry, Bobby. I've been really stressed lately. Okay.
Okay.
That's which you can ask me about at any point.
Yeah, I'll do it after the intro. All right. Well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
Did you say something? I'm sorry. I'm just stressed. I'm Teddy Ron Reagan Dismay here.
And this is JonBenet Today. Okay, what? What is wrong? What?
Bobby, I can't be living with Donna no more.
Yeah, where's Donna at?
She's fucking watching Wicked.
She's
watching Wicked.
She's watching Wicked?
She's watching Wicked. Okay. She goes to the movie theater every day now, Bobby.
Yeah, what do you mean watching it? Like
she goes and watches it. She made friends with the people who work there. But I'm like, they're paid.
I'm sorry, she's just watching Wicked over and over again?
Over and over, Bobby. She just loves, she's got Wicked fever. And she just thinks she's one of these Elphaba, and that she just keeps singing along the song. She keeps singing it when she's at home, singing in her sleep, smacking the fucking face. She won't stop. And she goes to the movie theater every day now. Don't want to spend time with me. And she watches Wicked like 3-4 times. Right. And that movie's long, Bobby.
Yeah, well, it's
a musical.
Yeah.
It's about Wizard of Oz people. Mm-hmm. And it's like 3 hours long. And it's got loud songs. Everybody sings so fucking loud. And I'm like, God damn it. And
so you did see it?
And I watched the kid. I watched it about 3 times with her.
Oh my God!
I mean, I had a little Wicked fever.
That's like a whole day.
Well, it was one of the whole days. And then
So Donna's not here because she's watching Wicked right now.
She's watching Wicked right now, and I'm trying to study for my Santa's exam because
your what?
My Santa exam. My Santa exam, Bobby.
You're gonna be a Santa.
I'm gonna be a Santa. The mall that we live at, they're looking for a Santa.
Okay.
And they said we need someone who's morbidly obese, someone whose feet go numb, so they're not trying to get up from the chair. Someone who can, isn't sexually attracted to
What is
children.
on a Santa exam?
So Santa exam, I mean, you have to know how to how to talk to children without offending them, making them cry, where to put them on your thigh. Well, I mean, you got to put them on.
They
thigh.
say thigh.
They say thigh. They capitalize it every time. It doesn't matter where it is in the
sentence. Whole word.
They say they capitalize the T, HIGHJAH. And I'm like, okay. But it's important. I think they've had issues.
It sounds like it.
I mean, but you got to think about it.
Especially since they're printing it.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about like background checking you? Or?
Every year, millions of parents trust old and fat men to place their children on their thigh in appropriate ways. And every day, people let them down. And a lot of times it just comes out of ignorance, Bobby. So I'm just like trying to make sure when I do my tests, my exams next week,
yep.
I just want to make sure everything goes great. So I've been using a 5-pound bag of russet potatoes. I'm just putting it on my lap. And I do other things too. Like if I'm like, oh, what's a bad place to put it? You know? But it's better to do it on a bag of potatoes than on a human child.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like on your groin.
Wait, they put test. You test with a bag of potatoes.
They're gonna test you during the exam. They're gonna put a bag of potatoes on my and if I get high, on my Bobby, my groin.
Wait, you try not to get hard with a bag of potatoes?
Many men do. 5 pounds of pressure. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a penguin, and they're gonna start getting a boner. That's just how the human body is designed. It's like a sponge cake, Bobby. The penis is spongy. It reacts to force. It's like an animal thing. Can we go on with the episode?
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Well, speaking of things that make you laugh, we got a very funny comedian and TV writer on.
Oh, yeah.
She's also a podcast host. The very funny Miss Ashley Ray.
She's great.
She wrote a Substack article that's really great. We linked it below. It's called Why the JonBenet Case Still Feels Like a Mystery.
Great title for a Substack.
It's a great article. It's getting a lot of heat from the Ramsey side, at least from John Andrew Ramsey.
Oh, yeah.
And so we talked to her. She's very funny. It's a very good interview.
Oh, yeah.
She's very well researched.
Yeah, but we got other things to talk about, too.
We got other things to talk about, too, yeah. Well, there's backlash from the whole Netflix documentary.
Oh, my God.
There's been an influx of people that are it seems very influenced, yes.
Yeah, that's the right word, Bobby.
Fleet White did it. Steve Thomas is an asshole.
Or like, I can't believe I ever thought of blaming the parents before, when it's like, no, you were right to.
Yeah, you were
Because this
definitely
documentary
right to.
excised a lot of things.
We talked about in our last episode, a lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
We do bring up some new ones in this episode, too, in our conversation with Ashley.
Yeah.
I watched the JonBenet's America. Michael Tracy, who you know is the Australian guy from all the other Ramsey.
Oh, yeah, the journalism department guy from...
University of Boulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the journalism professor, who also, again, Bill McReynolds was a broadcast journalism professor at that same place, too.
Oh, that's right.
The intro of it is immediately like, oh, Netflix is basically the second version of this, like just
Of JonBenet's America.
with JonBenet's America, yeah. So here's the intro for it.
Wow.
And they're just like, this is the America we live in today, where you can blame these people, and it's just filled with a bunch of inaccurate information. That's it's a bunch of bullshit. But you can check it out. We'll have a link below to that if you want to watch it.
Yeah, America may be fucked up beyond repair, but I don't need a British person telling me that. No, either. Yeah, first and foremost.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, it doesn't make it more austere like it's some BBC documentary just because the guy has got an English accent and knows how to butter an English muffin. I can buy a muffin dough when I try it.
Yeah.
I can do it, Bobby.
Yeah, but when you hear
Bobby, when I have a knife,
when you hear
and
from
I
a
butter,
British person, it's like more comforting.
it's more comforting. It's more authoritative, and it's at the same time, it's like using all the same manipulation tactics. This is using the media. This is using media to change people's opinions.
to say media is bad.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
They're like, now
This is like,
other
hey,
media's gonna say it. We'll say it.
The media is so sensationalist. He's
Yeah.
a sensationalist piece of media right
And
here.
this is the same filmmaker who then would be talking to John Mark Carr over emails for 4 years and bring members of the Ramsey camp and rope them in on it.
And now after 20 years coming back with it and being like, well, the police allegedly cleared it.
Allegedly cleared it. Like such bullshit. And he's in that documentary as like almost like as an expert, in the whole matter. But no one in the documentary is telling you that they're using the footage from his documentary,
Right.
that was in the 90s, for all the exclusive looking shit that's in this documentary on Netflix. That looked like, honestly, was almost just slapped in, slapped together. I mean, it's just bad.
It's not good.
It's not good. And so this one wasn't good either, it sounds like.
No. Check it out if you want to see how they've been doing the same thing for like 30 years now.
There's no singing in it. No singing of Wicked songs, right?
No, there's no Wicked songs. But
Okay.
JonBenet sings quite a few times.
Oh, God.
And there's an interesting, real quick, sorry, the last thing on it. There was the whole, them opening presents a lot.
1984.
Despite appearances, tragedy was already stalking the Ramseys.
What'd you get, JonBenet? Oh,
John Ramsey's 22-year-old daughter Beth, from his first marriage, had been killed in a car crash, and Patsy had been diagnosed with advanced ovarian cancer, a disease with 95% mortality. But Patsy Ramsey says her cancer did reveal JonBenet's emerging personality.
who's that?
The children would come into my hospital room.
I thought it was interesting how she pushed the doll on it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing where it was like,
Remember, I love this, too.
She's like hugging this kid. Yeah, like, look at this. This is great. Look at this. You love it. Kind of thing. And it also brought like an interesting thought to my mind where it was all that trash that was just sitting around there. Where I realized that I was like, oh, the trash still hadn't probably fully gone out yet. And I just wondered what the length that the police went through to go through the bags of the, because there's so much wrapping paper
And
there's boxes and there's wrapping paper in boxes of, from the presents and stuff like that would have been set out. That would have been easy to dispose of some of the missing items.
Oh my God.
Like possibly like a piece of duct tape or,
Yeah, just anything, I mean, apparently not the first draft of a ransom letter, but like, anything they may remember, there could have been things that could have easily been put in those bags full of wrapping paper in boxes. And already thrown out, like, to the curb or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great insight, Bobby.
Yeah.
Because no one ever talks about that. I mean, well, I would almost like to assume, like, at what point, when all the presents are open, does the room go from looking like something like that was shown in that video, where it's just a bunch of slapdash everywhere.
Yeah, where was all the trash?
To like, oh, someone's like, bagged up the trash, and where was the trash put? And could have anything else been put in there?
And that might have already been answered.
Valid question.
I mean, we'll if you let us know in the comments if somebody else knows about that.
Yeah,
it's a question we'd like answered. But so that all in all, not a great documentary, but it's got a lot of good footage in it.
Yeah, I really like seeing just some of that footage.
Just some of that footage.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more.
Well, guess what we got coming up, Teddy?
What's that?
We got a discussion with Ashley Ray.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley Ray. So you guys ready for it?
I'm excited for everybody to hear it. Let's do it.
All right. Well, here we go. Everybody, joining us very specially, we have comedian, actor, and TV writer. Her stand-up special, Ice Cream Money, was released earlier this year, and it's very
Oh, my God. You did Ice Cream Money, Ashley Ray?
Yes, and I have to say I'm loving your Boston accents here.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. I'm so glad you appreciate me.
And she just finished a 4-year run. Was it 4 years of your successful podcast, TV I Say?
Yes, TV I Say 4 years. Now we're pivoting to something new because as maybe people can see, a deep love of mine is true crime and documentaries.
Oh yeah.
So I have turned TV I Say into Deep Trouble, which is a podcast and Substack, my newsletter, where I am going to do deep dives into subjects that interest me.
Wow. Deep Trouble. I love that name, Ashley.
I didn't realize that was a podcast, too. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, the podcast will be launching next year. And really, I had a whole rollout planned of, okay, I'm going to do the podcast. I'm going to do my first piece. It was supposed to be an in-depth dive of this other documentary I had watched called Don't Buy on Netflix. About like just people buying too many things that they throw out.
People buy too much shit. I say it all the time. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and it's unnecessary. And I was like, I'm going to dive into this. It'll be so good. That'll be the first one. We'll do the podcast. And then the Netflix JonBenet Ramsey documentary came out.
Oh my God, yeah.
It made me so angry because there were so many lies that I had to just go, no, I'm doing this now. I'm writing this now. Yep. This is the first deep dive. There was just literally in the middle of the documentary, I pulled a notebook out and started going, okay, here is where they say there were no urine found in the bedroom. Here is on page this foreign faction where he says CSI said the bed reeked of urine. Here, I literally was just like, if Steve Thomas needs to sue them for defamation, I have his back.
Oh my God. There's been so many of those coming out where people are just like, Steve Thomas was a piece of shit. And
it's shocking, honestly. Like I see on my TikTok, in different places, actually, when I'm on social media where they still haven't banned me. And I see that these people, they're like, I'm convinced now it's the parents, blah, blah, blah.
Or Fleet White.
Oh, I can't stand the people who say Fleet White.
Oh my God, those people are crazy.
They don't know anything about the facts of the case. They watch the Netflix, and the Netflix documentary does try to throw some suggestion that it's Fleet.
Well, they say John's friend. They don't name
John's
him.
Friend. They also do briefly mention one time she had wet herself at his house and he came back with her wet panties and a thing and had given her some. And they try to make that sound suspicious when it's like, we know that many of her friends' parents were like, she had accidents. We would give her a pair that was normal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
That was in the doc, the Fleet White?
That's in the doc. That little clip of just John being like, she had an accident there. So yeah, she had accidents. Oh my God. Try to use that to be like, sure, she had, but it's clear they're also trying to hint at Fleet. And
everybody
TikTok
but the Ramseys,
Yeah. And now there's all these TikToks that are like, well, Fleet White is so suspicious. And it's like, Fleet White is the least suspicious person in this whole thing. Exactly. He is the only person who said, I am suing. I want my grand jury testimony released. I want people to say what I said under oath on the record. He's the only person who repeatedly does interviews with the cops, gives DNA, gives his clothes from that morning. He is one of the few people who is genuinely like, I think I know what happened, and it irritates me that justice won't be served.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I hope, I hope that as long as we get the grand jury reports released. But wait, I don't think I finished fully introducing you.
Sorry. We just jump right in, Bobby.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ashley Ray.
Ashley Ray, come on down.
Yes. Ashley, hi.
We gotta also ask you, first off, we normally do it with every guest that we have.
First question. Did you do it? Did you do it?
No. I do have an alibi at the time.
Okay.
I myself
let
was
me hear
5
it.
years old. I was 5 years old in Rockford, Illinois at the time.
Okay.
I do have pictures from that Christmas that placed me there.
Perfect.
Statistically, most 5-year-old girls from Illinois do not kill little girls that are in Colorado.
No.
Yeah, so
not unless
I'm happy to share my alibi.
All right.
perfect.
No, well, I mean,
No,
we'll think of it now. You got
good.
to us sooner than the Ramseys did.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, true. I am answering questions
off
sooner
the
than
bat.
Yeah.
just off the bat. Happy. I'll turn my clothes in from that night if you want. I'm sure my
Cooperating with
mom
an
still has
investigation. Pretty suspicious, actually.
So Ashley Ray, she wrote this great this article for her podcast, The Substack, Deep Trouble.
What's a podcast, Bobby?
What's a podcast, you
Yeah.
dipshit? We're on a podcast.
What do you mean?
This is a podcast.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Radio on the internet.
With Ashley Ray, it's a podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
And so you wrote this thing, and basically it was a BDI, Burke did it theory.
So people are saying BDI Burke did it. Really, it is the focus of Ramsey's did it for people who watch this Netflix documentary that acts like it's insane to consider the Ramseys. The Netflix documentary pushes the lie that the Ramseys were cleared.
Exactly.
Burke was never considered. Burke didn't have anything to do with it. To even consider Burke is just the craziest people on the internet.
Oh my God.
That's insane.
That's
to
what
me.
the documentary pushes. So the article I wrote is for people who finish that and go, well, it couldn't even be the family, to slowly get them to go, oh, no, it very much could have been the family. And actually, Burke theories are very much based on evidence. And here's that evidence.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's so important to be doing that. And that's what when Bobby first showed me the Substack and started reading me parts of it, because I'm not, as what one can conventionally say, is literate with words. I'm literate with other things, sounds, yellings. But so he was reading me parts of the Substack, and I was marveled. I was marveled by how well put you organized the evidence, and just the whole organization of the essay. So kudos to you, Miss Ashley Ray.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and because it is important for us to kind of cut through the bullshit of all of the subterfuge and the things that are meant to just kind of get us lost in the fog of war between the Ramsey's PR team's impact over almost 30 years and the much less organized and less powerful, but yet persistent chorus of voices who, since the dawn of the true crime community, which this crime really propagated, because this came out around the time of AOL message boards and things like that. This is where people could collaborate and be like, well, I saw this news article headline, blah, blah, blah. People were starting to create those archives.
Which I will say, I feel very old because I have seen younger people watching this documentary and afterwards they go, did people even have the internet in 1996? And when you talk about well, they would have known to, plant fake DNA or wipe DNA. They're like, in 1996, were people even thinking about DNA? And it's like, the OJ trial just happened.
Right.
Yeah. They think we were
they knew it was a big
covered
deal.
wagons in the 90s or something.
Yeah, it's like, no, and they're like, someone was like, well, they should have had a security system. And it's like, well, someone's like, that didn't exist. And it's like, no, it did exist. And in fact, they had one. They just didn't use it.
Yeah. The giant labyrinthine
house. So you say in your article, but what originally sparked your interest in the case?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this happened when I was about her age. She was 3 months older than me. And like everyone, you saw her face everywhere. She was everywhere. And to me, she looked like as a little girl, she looks like one of those girls you want to be friends with, right? You're like, oh my God, she's so pretty. I bet she'd be so fun to play with. I want to play with her dolls. And I just couldn't believe that something so horrible could happen to someone like that.
Right,
I was
to a pretty popular person.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm like, I'm a cute girl, and like, what? This bad things happen to cute girls? What?
Oh my God.
I'm 5. Since as this crime is going, I'm 6. It's very shocking to me.
So you guys are like the same age.
No.
Yeah. And so it's not until I'm like 12, I went to a school where everyone got a laptop in 6th grade, a small private school. And I will say giving 12-year-olds laptops, bad idea. There were no like restrictions on it. This was before like people were like, you have to create like parent blockers.
Did it have that little clip button in the middle of the keyboard?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember
that little like button mouse thing. And so when I got my laptop, I was into true crime because my mom raised me on court TV. That was all that like played in our house mostly. I was always up on every new detail that came out about the case. Around that time, I think it was about a year or two after the Ramseys had done their 2000 interview. So all of that had just kind of hit the internet. Yeah. And I got back into the case, I guess you could say. Or I entered it for the first time as someone who wasn't a 5-year-old. And I started looking into it. And that's when I realized like, oh, all the adults in the world think the parents did this.
Right?
Able to absorb all that information for the first time. I mean, it's definitely where you like are going like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is not what it's been portrayed. And, you know, it's so funny you said that you were raised on court TV, Ashley. I was actually raised in the court system. And so we have so many commonalities. I really love it.
But when you were younger, you also read like Steve Thomas's book, right?
Yeah, so I read Steve Thomas's book soon after that. What really sparked my interest into the books at that point is, so when I get my laptop and I'm going into the case, at the time, the Ramsey family had their own website, ramseyfamily.com. And a lot of people did not know this in the documentary. They don't mention it. But they had this whole website where they would put up pictures of JonBenet, personal family pictures, direct messages from the family. They would also put up pictures from the case, evidence. They put the entire ransom letter on their website. They start doing this in 1998.
Oh my God.
Wow. They start doing this before they do their first interview. They have created the foundation in the website by March. They do their first interview. That's
probably right after they got the evidence for trading their clothing. That was part of the deal. Exactly. That was part of the deal in January.
Exactly. And so they get that. And what do? They go on their website. They post a picture. And this is all in the article if you want to see the evidence.
Jesus.
But they take a picture of the garret. They post it on their website with a statement that says, look at how complex these knots are. Do you know anyone who would know knots that are so complex? Ignoring the fact that just a month before, the police said, from a knots expert they brought in, these are not complicated knots. It is just one knot, and then it's just wrapped around it.
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
only so many ways you can knot a rope.
And he's like, anyone could have done this. It's not a complicated knot. But then when the Ramseys get information, they put it on their website and go, it's so complex. It's so complex.
That's crazy.
And of course, that creates a media narrative. People who are writing about it are like, oh, well, they put this on their website. So in the Netflix documentary, when the Ramseys say there was a media circus that led to everyone thinking it was us, they created the circus. They're the ones who create a website where they're publishing pictures of their daughter, where they're publishing evidence from the case and keeping the media interested. They go on CNN and the police are like, please stop doing this. Please stop leaking information. Their friends are like, please stop leaking information. The family, they publish the ransom note to the public with a bunch of movie lines they say sound like the letter.
Right.
And the police are like, hey, you do know you've just tainted the entire suspect pool. Like, even if someone came in to confess now and their handwriting matched, their lawyer could go, they saw it on the website.
Yeah, exactly. And
why would you do that? And I think for a lot of us who got into the case around that time, we saw clips like that. We saw videos like that online. Back then, I remember you could find the full video of Patsy's interrogation and the transcript on like a website. Most of that is gone now. The Ramsey family website, they take it completely offline a few years after they put it up. They only kept it up for like probably 5 years about.
So people couldn't use it in lawsuits.
Well, exactly. So a lot of people were like, they created the website so they could get tips and information about their daughter, which it has a tip line that leads to their lawyers, not to police. And people are like, well, they took it down. And I believe it's like 2006. If you go to Wayback Machine, you can see when exactly they took it down. But people were like, hey, no one's been found. So why are you taking your tip line down? Why?
Yeah, exactly.
And why erase like the whole history of everything that was on the site? You'll also remember that they posted on this site. Maybe you don't know this. They asked a psychic to envision what they thought the intruder looked like. And this woman who was a psychic she died soon after, but she creates like a vision of who she thinks this person looks like. She sends it to the Ramseys. They put it on their website.
What did he look like?
Was it the one? Was it the one that looked like John Mark Carr?
It is. Yes, it is the one that looks like And they put that on the website,
God.
and of course that like is a huge issue. Could lead to legal problems. You cannot just say, "Hey, here's a picture of the suspect that a psychic told us about."
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that's what leads them to like taking it down or being like, "Hey, this is an issue." So all of the all of this footage, and they think that them putting this picture gets them to take the website down. Most of the footage and stuff that was available online in like the early 2000s is so hard to find now. Like when we talk about the like PR, like Ramsey PR machine, they have an actual PR firm that like has clearly gone, and there's some effort to get clips down that could show inconsistencies in their statement. If you can go watch Patsy's whole interview, you see where she lies about the red shirt. You see where she lies about so many things.
Right.
So it does feel like there's like an effort over all these years of someone being like, we have to get things about the case down. A lot of people notice it's very hard to find a full clip of their New Year's Eve or New Year's Day CNN interview that they do a week after the murder.
Right, which is all drugged up.
Yeah, you can find a
Burke's interview supposedly is getting scrubbed too with Dr. Phil.
Yes.
According to the Reddit.
Yes, according to the Reddit, and also what I have seen on YouTube. And I have seen, like, I watched this in 2016.
I have the whole thing.
I know what the whole, so do I. Yeah. I got the whole thing on my Google Drive now, and that's what I used to get clips for my article, because I remember watching it in 2016. And then I watched a YouTube version, and they had cut out the part about the flashlight. And I was like, why is that part of the interview cut out? I remember it being there.
That's crazy.
And that psychic thing, that was done for a TV special too.
Yes.
That, like Lou Smith participated in along with Michael Tracy.
Oh my God.
And they stand outside the house, and the lady very much guesses like, oh, the guy went in through the grate, like she could see it kind of thing.
And it's like, oh, thank you, Lou Smith. Tell me exactly what to say.
He's standing right there, and he's like,
what about this grate though? Does this look good?
Oh yeah, definitely the grate.
I don't understand how any documentary that mentions Lou Smith or any conversation around JonBenet that mentions Lou Smith can be seen as valid. Every theory he came up with has been dismissed.
Exactly.
Everything that he has ever said, people who are not even Boulder PD have said his relationship with the family was inappropriate. He used to go to their house and stand outside and pray with them, hold vigils. When Patsy is sick with cancer in 2006 before she dies, he goes and stays with the family. He used to go to church with them and stuff. Yeah. He had an inappropriate relationship. Like, they try to act like the Boulder PD are the ones who are biased, but Lou Smith is the one who is the most biased. He literally, the second he shows up, is like, I'm a good Christian man, and I just don't think a good man like John Ramsey would do this.
Come pray with me in my van.
What in the Freemason?
And he literally tells police detective Steve Thomas, Kohler, he tells all of them, I came to my conclusion in a week of starting the case.
Oh, wow.
And James Kohler is like, well, that is scary to me because I've worked on this case for about 6 months and I am not sure about things. So how did you come to that conclusion in a week?
No.
And pretty
like,
quickly,
it's like, okay.
Yeah, and pretty quickly he's able to go, hey, Lou, I don't believe your window well theory because look at the spider webs in the video. And Lou does admit he never saw the crime scene video from that day. He only saw photographs.
Oh my God.
So he doesn't see the video that has
an 8-hour presentation.
Yeah, an 8-hour presentation. Then he goes on Katie Couric's show and is like, see, I figured it out.
Right.
And he's like, the stun gun. The stun gun was disproven immediately by the coroner, the medical examiner, and the people who made the stun gun.
Yeah.
Lou was like, this is the only stun gun that was able to come close to matching her marks. It's made by this company, Air Taser. Air Taser went, our tasers have never caused those kind of abrasions in the history of our company. This is not a stun gun injury. It is an abrasion, not a burn. But still to this day, the stun gun theory is something that Netflix pushes, that anyone who wants to say intruder pushes, and it just isn't true.
Right. Whenever the Ramseys are involved in a documentary, that's going to still be something that's pushed, whereas something like the ransom letter is not even going to be brought up.
Yeah, the Netflix doc barely mentions the ransom letter or how pretty much the FBI, everybody in the grand jury was like, she definitely wrote it. Instead, they only mention it in regards to the civil suit they file. So they file a civil suit against Steve Thomas. And in that, they hire their own handwriting experts. And those experts that the Ramseys have paid for say it's a low probability that she wrote the letter.
They don't rule her out, but they say it's a low probability.
Yeah, and from there, that is the line the Ramseys use.
Yeah.
6 handwriting experts said it's a low probability. They don't include that it's 6 experts they hired for a civil suit, not experts in the criminal investigation.
And also on the air taser too, that was another thing where now that immediately made people discredit a Burke theory too, because they're like, what 9-year-old you do know? Like,
would have a stun gun. How did a 9-year-old?
Yeah,
and it's like, first of all, if you know anything, anyone who thinks Burke did it knows a stun gun wasn't used.
Right. Yeah. And did you notice that they added a new lie? It took me my second rewatch to notice it when Sergeant Whitson or whatever was talking to to Netflix. He says that basically a detective like interviewed Burke and then made arrangements for him to leave the house.
That's a lie.
I know, but they added that in there, and I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't even realize they said that." I was like, "That's not in any report." And
that's ridiculous.
He wasn't interviewed
because
before
they don't want it to be like, "Oh yeah," and then John or Patsy went up and was like, "Burke, you have to go to the fleet. You didn't do anything bad. No, you didn't do anything bad."
Now you got a BPD guy actually like lying on camera saying that it was Boulder's idea to get him out.
That's crazy. I can't stand the fucking like.
I don't
cover upness of this.
Here's the thing. I am hoping. And what I have noticed is that a lot of the big names in this case who tend to speak out, your Kohlers, Beckner, those people who do talk about the case in the media, they're very quiet right now.
Right.
They're quiet. I believe something is coming. I believe the Ramseys know this. They're trying to get ahead of it with this Netflix documentary, just like they tried to get ahead of the CBS documentary in 2016 with the Dr. Phil interview. They are putting this Netflix doc out to get ahead of something. And
there's the Paramount series coming out, the limited series.
Yeah, and I think there's the limited series. I think more grand jury documents are coming
that would
out.
Be amazing.
To me, this Netflix documentary has so many lies and inconsistencies that it opens them up to lawsuits. Like if you're Steve Thomas, that documentary makes you look horrible. They make him sound like he's insane for thinking that there's a bedwetting incident. They show a clip from his deposition where the lawyer is saying, well, where did you see the urine stains? And he can't give an answer. Well, that's because he wasn't on the scene that day. He didn't see the urine stains. He read the crime scene investigation report that said her bed reeked of urine. So that's how he knew.
Right.
And Netflix doesn't mention that. Netflix does not mention that CSI said her bed reeked of urine. Instead, Netflix says no urine was found on her bed. So how did an accident happen? What they also don't mention, she had 2 beds in her room.
Yeah,
they show a picture of her bed and they say Lou Smith says it looks like she was dragged off of the bed,
which was insane.
And they make it, which is insane.
I've never even heard the intruder did it. People use that as like a thing.
Where they're like, and they stun gun and then and it's like they had to drag a 6-year-old girl. They couldn't just pick her up.
You made a great point in your article too, where you said also if she was stun gun and dragged from her bed, like Lou Smith says, did the intruder wake her up to feed her pineapple in that case?
Right, and then he wakes up and feeds her pineapple. Like, how does that make sense? And so in the Netflix doc, they show just the picture of the one bed, and they say, Lou Smith says her bed was dry. And so there you go. But in the report, it says her bed reeked of urine. And we know there's 2 beds. Netflix doesn't say there's 2 beds. Then no one ever says, hey, Lou, which bed was dry? Sure, maybe one of them was dry. Was one of them but no, they just go, well, her bed. And it's which one was hers? And it's, again, just where the Ramseys and their team take advantage of these half-truths.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who wants to find the killer of your daughter, why are you focused on half-truths? Why are you entertaining a stun gun theory when it's been disproven? That's not getting you closer to the person who did it.
Exactly.
And you had brought up something that I thought was really interesting that honestly I didn't see, I haven't seen highlighted before, and I've done a lot of research on this. The maid and family friend John Fernie said she absolutely recognized it as the flashlight Burke would sleep with. He'd use it in case he had to go to the bathroom that night. At night. And I had never actually heard that before. I thought that was very interesting.
Wow.
Yep. And that's why in 2016, when Burke says, my dad read to me in bed with the flashlight.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
So
it makes sense the dad would read to him with the flashlight that's probably next to his bed.
And yet it's so ridiculous when Dr. Phil continues to press with Burke, because it's like kind of like he's like got him in a moment. He asked Burke, so did you take the flashlight, use the flashlight when you went downstairs and for look at the presents? And he's like, I don't remember. And it's like, clearly you would know what kind of light you were throwing across the room. Whether you
remember
the light
getting
switch,
out of bed when everyone went to sleep. You don't remember, and so I'm supposed to be leave.
Were the presents in the dark or were they in the light?
Right?
Like, come on.
You're a little kid getting up after everybody went to bed. Of course you're bringing your flashlight with you, buddy. Come on.
Right?
Come on.
And you brought up that the neighbors had seen the home lights on dimmed on there. There's also the incident where they've seen around midnight that there were flashlights in the kitchen too. Mm-hmm. So I wonder what the timeline is of those two.
I didn't hear about that.
John says it on like their interview in like 1997 with this lady.
And then you can tell he looks like he got.
Yeah, because he makes it. He goes. There were reports a neighbor saw flashlights in the kitchen, and we've highlighted it before as like motherfucker. He says it like you're forgetting.
That's evidence of you, bitch.
Like you're saying, you're forgetting that there's a flashlight. Like you see him like seize
now,
up.
He like
so now we have to
for a minute. He's like,
that this intruder stun guns her, uses the flashlight, and is carrying her to get to the kitchen. Stops and goes, oh no, maybe she needs a snack before I kidnap her. Let me give her some pineapple. Wake up, eat this pineapple.
And milk.
Oh, she does something I don't like. Maybe I woke her up for pineapple and now she's screaming. I hit her in the head. I do everything. Put the flashlight down in the kitchen. I'm staging. I have to do all of this and get out of the house. Oops, I forgot my flashlight in the kitchen.
Yeah, let me go ahead and make sure.
I remembered the ransom note. I remembered, I found tape in the house to put on her mouth, but I forgot my flashlight.
Yeah. It's like ridiculous for all the ridiculous like aspects and angles that they ask us to not actually like
I've never
actually
heard an intruder
synthesize, but just
theory
be
that makes
overwhelmed
sense.
by.
Yeah, I've just never heard an intruder theory that makes sense. Every time someone starts, they're like, well, imagine he's dressed up as Santa Claus. So he gets in the house and she knows he's Santa and trusts him. And that's why she goes downstairs. And I'm like, okay, so a guy dressed as Santa walks in their house and no neighbors notice.
Bobby,
and then
they're
they're like,
that?
well, he gets in the house and he changes into it early and he changes into a Santa Claus costume. And I'm like, so he changes in their house without leaving any DNA trace, anything.
Santa outfits have bells too. It's like, and
also
bright
like
red Santa outfit.
Why would he cover the urine stain with the paint tray?
No.
Like why put that over there? To me, that seems like the most amateurish thing about the.
Okay. Here is a detail I didn't know.
Yeah,
that is a detail I didn't know.
That's what to me. That's why I feel like it's something where they came upon it after. But I think that's
and
the
it's
one
covering
thing.
it up.
Why wouldn't you know? Like why wouldn't?
Oh my God.
Why wouldn't you try to figure that out? I don't think he mentioned it.
No, that totally does add to my Burke did it all except the cover up theory. I do believe, and I know this among like hardcore JonBenet people who know the details.
Right.
I know this is like one of the controversial things. Did Burke make a Boy Scout toggle and try to pull her to the cellar?
I mean, the urine stain
and
indicates
he dragged her. The urine stain indicates it, but people act like you're crazy if you suggest this. But to me, okay, the restraints on her wrists, there's 15 inches of cord between the wrists. Her wrists are 15 inches apart at the, like if you pull the restraints apart. Who is restraining a 6-year-old with 15 inches of rope? That is so long.
That is long.
It's
long and it's wrong.
Yeah. And then the garret has 17 inches to it. If you are a kidnapper who already has close contact with this girl, why would you need 17 inches on the garret?
Yeah.
Why are you giving that's so much room? But 15 to 17 inches, if I'm a child who has been known for whittling, is a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout, is called a little engineer by the landscaper. If you're putting cords around the wrists and her neck and you're trying to drag her, you can't drag her by the arms. Maybe it's really hard. You know, she's dead weight. And so she can't, it's hard to pull her. So he puts the wrist restraints, this long cord, puts one around her neck with a toggle thing and tries to pull her that way and drags her. And he's able to successfully do it. But this also is what slowly actually kills her. He thinks she's dead from the head hit, but it's actually this choking motion. And as he gets to the outside of the wine cellar, that's where she does actually die and relieves herself there. And he notices that's where he freaks out. He covers the paint tray. That makes, and it has never made sense to me if it is Patsy or John. Why would they put her down right there outside of the cell on the carpet? Why would they put her down there to do the final choking? We know she urinates when the final choking happens and she dies. Why would an intruder stop at the threshold of the cellar? Why would Patsy or John stop at the threshold if they're going in there to stage it? Why wouldn't they just put her in there? So it clearly points to someone dragging her in, stopping, and that's where it happens when she is face down on the floor. And I do think it's possible he could have just dragged her by the arms and then Patsy did the garret and her fibers are found in the garret. And then also there were chronic signs of sexual abuse. Whether it was John or Burke, if it was, as the maid say, Burke had been seen playing doctor, Patsy would know that. She would think we have to hide any evidence of that, use the paintbrush. If it was John who was sexually abusing her, he would know that and would know I have to hide that. They're going to do an autopsy. They would find this.
Right.
So
we've been like questioning, like to what degree has she been assaulted? What types of assault? Also, just overall in that household, what are all the dysfunctions going on there? And because there's just a lot. I mean, it's a home environment where it seems like there's so all the time.
There's so much that the fact that Burke had previously been found rubbing feces on walls and that feces are found in her room that night, that detail is just erased from the narrative for most people.
And
it's something the Ramseys never address. It is one of those facts, the rare facts in this case that the cops have sat on. They have not shared a lot of information about it. And I absolutely believe it's because the cops know who those feces came from. I think they know who it came from. I think they know how fresh it was. I think they know it happened that night. And I think that's how they know the whole family story is a lie.
And I noticed, here's something I found last night when I was looking into the grand jury stuff too. Burke, one of the people called to testify, we know for sure, was Burke's third grade teacher. Which is very interesting. But the thing is that they heard from Burke in May of 1999, and then they went on a 4-month break and didn't come back until September 23rd of 1999. This whole thing got wrapped up in October 13th. And when they came back on September 23rd, they always said they reportedly heard from Susan Stein, which maybe they did. But we later found out that Doug Stein, too, also testified.
Doug Stein testified on my break?
So it's so weird that the connection is like, oh, they heard from Burke, 4-month break, and then, not even like, it was about 2 weeks or something later, the whole thing's over. Like, they made their conclusion.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
It's like, guys, and people try to say, well, the grand jury report doesn't point to Burke. It doesn't say, and he was, in fact, as many maybe know, after my article came out, John Andrew Ramsey started tweeting about me.
You got jarred.
I got jarred. He started tweeting about like how so many things were wrong in my article. He starts, of course, citing the Ramsey civil suits, as they love to do.
He is clueless.
And then I also get an email from someone claiming to be him.
Don't fall into that trap, because that was the whole thing about that before that got Donald Foster to not be on the grand jury, because he thought he was emailing with John Andrew, but it was Jameson.
Oh my God.
And like I immediately was like, this is not real. But they included a phone number, and he was like, I just feel like you have some mistakes and I would love to talk to you to help clear it up. Here's my number. Let's talk.
Oh my God. Get him on your podcast.
Well, okay, I tried. So I reply, and he's like, the Burke, the grand jury, they cleared Burke. They said it wasn't him. And I was like, well, first of all, a grand jury doesn't clear anyone.
Right.
Exactly. You know that.
I don't think they can officially say he's a suspect either, because he was a child. Like, since he couldn't have even done a murder, maybe that's why it's like they can't be public.
And he's like, well, the DA put out a thing saying, Burke is cleared. And I'm like, okay, yes, I know Alex Hunter and I think it was.
We know all about this.
So Alex Hunter signs whatever affidavit your lawyer sent over, although he does strike certain things from it. He strikes the part they wanted that said Burke was never a suspect and was never considered. They struck the part from it that said all of our questions about Burke's involvement have been answered. They would not put those parts in it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So I include all that information in my reply. He replies again and replies with a timeline that says Mary Lacey cleared the family.
Jesus.
And I'm like,
God.
and I'm just
That's the worst thing to cite.
I was like, and again, Mary Lacey didn't know the case. In fact, she was so bad with the case. That's why she brings in John Mark Carr, who investigators knew within hours could not have done it because he had so many facts wrong about the case. Yeah. So I don't care who Mary Lacey excludes, because she doesn't know.
Nobody does. That's insane.
No.
And so then he replies and he says, you seem like a very angry person and you should go outside. And I'm just like, and you seem like someone who read something that struck a nerve and you want to protect your family.
He
and
said he said those exact
that.
things on Reddit too.
Yes.
Jeez. Wow.
And then after that, he was like, then he said, if it was him, this person says, you have a lot of little things wrong in your article that hurt your overall argument. And then I said, but does that mean I have a lot of big things right?
Right.
I got no other reply.
Ding, 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 ding. Knockout.
I get no other reply. I did text the number that was sent, and I was like, hey, if this really is you, I would love to sit down and talk through the things that are wrong in my piece. Would you want to come on my podcast? Would you want to, we could do a written article? I know how much the Ramsey, they prefer written questions. Whatever you want to do, buddy. No reply.
No reply.
Oh my God.
But now they have your number.
Yeah. That is, that just means that you're getting close. I mean, we like the closer you get to the trophy, the more John Andrew Ramsey's preoccupied with you in his mind.
Exactly. And it's like the more the truth comes out, the more the Ramsey starts spinning things. They put out Netflix docs, they put out propaganda, they put out the stun gun. And what always happens is that inevitably people do their own research and see through it. Yeah, so when I saw the Netflix doc and all of its misinformation, I knew if I write something, I knew people would immediately go to the Reddit after watching that. And it's been very funny to see people watch the documentary, go to the Reddit and be like, can we all agree it's ridiculous the cops even looked at the family? And people on the Reddit are like, so you're new here. You don't know anything.
Right? I see them on the other Reddit where people are being like, wow, this is why I think the family did it. I'm like, oh man, you're on the wrong Reddit for that.
You're on the wrong one.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to go to the legit JonBenet Ramsey. You can't just be up in JonBenet because they don't like facts over there.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing that article too.
Yeah, honestly.
It's a great service. I'm very excited
It's for all the people out there who are tired of having to explain the window and how it couldn't have worked for the stun gun. It's for the people who are like, here are the facts. There was previous sexual abuse. It doesn't matter what Netflix says. She did wet the bed that night. It doesn't matter what Netflix said.
No, exactly. And the Netflix and their 3 hours of shit we've heard before, because actually,
also no new information.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and so, but because of the likes of people like you and us, I mean, we're not sitting down and shutting up, or falling for the tactics that have stymied the public inquisition like it has in the past. Yep. And so I want to thank you for being on the side of the truth with us.
And thank you for coming on and talking with us.
Thanks for having me. I could talk about this all day.
All right, well, we'd love to have you back on at some point if you'd love to come on.
You're delightful.
Anytime. This was so fun.
Thank you for joining us, Ashley. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, Ashley.
That was great. She was great.
She's so well researched. She's so smart.
She's so smart.
She's so pleasant to speak with. And I really just admire people like her, people like you, Bobby. Where people do their research, people who are smart and able to put things together. And I do it too sometimes, don't you think?
Right.
Do you think she like me, Bobby?
Oh, I think she likes you.
You think she appreciate me?
Right. And you can follow her on X at the Ashley Ray.
Oh, she's on X.
We also have her other links down below. Go check out the actual Substack article that she wrote that's generated a lot of buzz.
I'll look at it.
It's a very good read if you are literate. One of the points she makes that I want to end on, because it's very great, is she said, I really just want you to know that in this modern media landscape where it's easy for streamers to sell narratives via documentary, that you have to be discerning. Dig into books, documentaries, and interviews. I encourage everyone to do the same.
Yeah.
Do your own research.
Do your research.
Smart.
Don't just stop with what you listen to someone say. We're doing this not for you,
including this idiot.
Exactly. I mean, even though I may have different tactics than most other people, which makes my analytical ability even better than them, I am still not a final definitive voice about this case.
You want people on Reddit like your Dr. Beef's pill mill idea, though.
They like my Dr. Beef pill mill. That's something I might do it. And so the whole point is that you're meant to listen and be inspired and to follow up and to double check.
And to do your own research.
And to correct, and it's nice that there's investigators like us and Ashley, where we're willing to have our minds changed. We always have been. We're willing to bring in new evidence and rule things out if need be. Or believe them again.
Oh my God, what was that?
I just burped. I mean, I've just been eating a lot of carrots.
That sounded like the Peruvian Didi was back.
It was close.
It was crazy. Honestly, I'm telling you, her comedy special was really good.
Yeah. And
Ice Cream Money.
Ice Cream Money.
Funny.
I listened to some of it, Bobby. It was funny.
I listened to all of it. It was very funny.
Oh my God, you listened to all of it?
I listened to all of it.
Did you keep listening after you kicked me out when I was listening to it over here?
What are you talking about?
I was over here and you were like, I'm listening to Ice Cream Money.
Like, you came in when I was listening to it. Oh. You sat down. You pissed yourself.
No.
I said you need to go.
No, I didn't. I didn't pee my
You were singing Wicked songs.
No, I'm not
You
singing.
had popcorn. You had popcorn all over your shirt. So I imagine you just came from the movie theater and you had about fucking 80 ounces of soda pouring
I was
through you.
fighting the high, Bobby. I was watching Wicked.
Okay, well, take a piss after. Okay, don't walk here because you're like, Donna's not coming, and she took the keys.
Everywhere
Walked
I
in,
fucking young.
and then you pissed it. You pissed yourself.
Everyone ever says that to me. Oh, I got bathroom issues everywhere I go. They're so sick of me not being able to go pee or poop when I'm blowing you. I'm saving. I'm done. I don't want to be Santa this year. To be continued.
What? It's not to be continued episode.
I'm done with the episode, Bobby.
Yeah, okay, well, we can be done.
No, we'll talk about no more until next episode.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we can get Donna back here. Get her out of that wicked haze. All right, well, hey, make sure you go follow Ashley Ray and check out her stuff. And I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan, this Maggie.
And this is JonBenet Today. Wait, you try not to get hard with a bag of potatoes?
Many men do. 5 pounds of pressure. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a penguin.